Welcome, my friends, back to my channel, and today 8 of my fun little vlogmas series. Today I've got a really fun, fast idea that I'm hoping inspires you if you are in a pinch when it comes to holiday wrap. So I'm pretty sure it was last year's vlogmas I shared how I like to use lunch sacks and use watercolors or paint to decorate those lunch sacks. I'll put a link in the description below if you're looking for more handmade wrapping ideas. But something else I like to also do is use butcher paper, specifically white butcher paper, and use watercolors to create my own hand painted wrap. Now, I don't do this all the time for every single gift, but I definitely do this for gifts that are special, for handmade gifts, or if I run out of that wrapping paper. Now, because I make art for a living, I tend to have a lot of large paper around my studio. I love butcher paper, just cheap rolls of butcher paper. Having them on hand, you can use them for so many different projects. I will also purchase plain colored wrapping paper when it usually goes on sale at the end of the year. Anything from the color red to dark greens to the color white. And I will keep those on hand and use them in my creative projects as like large yardage of that paper that I can work on for a variety of different projects. But when it comes to making my own handmade paper, I love cutting off large chunks of that butcher paper and actually using my watercolors to create really fast brushwork. Oftentimes it's leaves and vines or very simple florals. I tend to use a larger round brush for this process and treat that surface just like I would any kind of a watercolor painting. My goal is to always create something that looks and feels like pattern. I often repeat similar elements and motifs over and over again to give the look and feel of some kind of a repeat pattern or design. But gosh, you could have so much fun with all kinds of different techniques. You can get really messy on this paper and do lots of brushwork, lots of messy strokes, let things drip or splatter, or you can pick your favorite motifs or designs and work across that surface. I don't really care if this paper is not made necessarily for watercolors, but watercolors for me in my process is actually the quickest way that I can create something. It's the fastest for me. Sometimes drawing takes a little bit too long or doodling on a surface, but if I have a nice larger brush, I can usually create a handful of these surfaces and then pull them out when it's time for me to wrap things. Now, I will do this big and small, but I love having larger pieces that I can cut off of or hand off to anybody in our household who needs to do a little bit of wrapping with some really unique and creative paper. For about as long as I can remember, I typically try to create my own wrapping and I try to make it unique depending on what I have on hand. And while I can't always pull it off with time to create tons and tons of that wrap, I really enjoy putting a handmade twist during the holidays in my wrapping, whether it's with a gift tag or a handmade card or some sort of unique gift wrap. I always try to set aside a little bit of time to either make some handmade gifts or at the very least make a little bit of handmade gift wrap.